and welcome to H2O Global News Stream. In recent years, the water industry has embraced innovation, and startups lie at the heart of this shift. Today, we have the pleasure of talking to Natasha Legay, Senior Program Coordinator for the Ocean Startup Project. This Canadian organisation actively promotes innovation and new technologies. So hi to that, Natasha. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me. It's really exciting to have a chance to speak with you today.
Oh, thank you, thank you. So if we get into the questions, let's kick off. So, first of all, could you give us some background about yourself and Ocean Startup?
Yeah, absolutely. Natasha with the Ocean Startup Project, been fortunate to be with the Ocean Startup Project since inception, really, when we started 3.5 years ago. So been quite a journey throughout the life cycle of this project. I really built my career around supporting ocean technology startups. So for me, I saw the ocean sector for Canada as a strategic industry to be in terms of building an innovation ecosystem for my region of Canada, but just nationally as well. And the Ocean Startup Project really focuses on making Canada the best place in the world to start and grow an ocean company, and really focusing on developing sustainable ocean companies as well. And we do that through a number of different ways, focusing primarily in the early stages on inspiring and creating awareness around what various opportunities are in the ocean sector to innovate. And then from there, we focus on initiating new ocean startup companies through various programs and funding opportunities. And the goal is really to take these companies through a journey to get them investment ready. And so we position these companies by providing some resources and programming so that they can hopefully go on to global accelerators where they can access various international investor networks and kind of scale their companies globally. And through that process, we really rely on kind of bringing folks together through collaboration and really kind of supporting the companies by identifying what resources already exist out in the ecosystem and then trying to funnel them to those programs outside of our kind of own initiatives.
That's fantastic. Going back to your point about Canada, Canada is making a big push to support startups and encourage innovation. So, what sort of general progress is the country making?
Yeah, so it's a really exciting time, I think, in Canada to be supporting ocean startups and to be in the kind of ocean economy. We're really fortunate to see a network of ocean hubs really coming online over the past few years. I think right from coast to coast to coast, we're seeing different organizations form with a focus in oceans. We're seeing different partnerships being created and different collaborations. We have Canada's Ocean Supercluster in the country, which is a driving force behind a lot of the activity in the blue economy. And they have bold ambitions of growing the national ocean economy by 5x by 2035. And so I think, in combination with the work that the Ocean Supercluster is doing across the country and the work that we're doing as a project funded by the Ocean Supercluster with a primary focus on startups, we're seeing kind of a burgeoning ecosystem emerge right across the country, and we have kind of regional expertise as well. So on the East Coast and the Atlantic side, we have great expertise around naval defense. If you look to Newfoundland, there's offshore offshore expertise. When you look to Quebec, there's an emerging ecosystem around ports and logistics, and same with fisheries and aquaculture right across the country as well. So I think it's a really exciting time in terms of the momentum we're seeing, and as it relates to startups, we're seeing just a sheer growth in the number of startups. I think when we started this project 3.5 years ago, it was a little bit of a hard effort. I guess there was a bit more effort to put in to identify the startups to participate in our programs. But now what we're seeing is not only the number has increased, but the caliber of ideas. The technologies are seemingly more advanced. So I think there's a a level of maturity that's forming in Canada's ocean startup ecosystem, or just our ecosystem broadly. And it's a really exciting time, I think, to watch the momentum.
Oh, indeed. I mean, I'm a big fan of the superclusters. I really do think they're the way ahead. I mean, so just going a bit deeper into that. So what sort of companies and technologies does the Ocean Startup support?
Yeah, so it's really a broad spectrum. We're primarily focused on kind of sustainable solutions that aim to kind of make a better environment or planet for us all. Primarily focused on the earliest stages of idea development. So we focus on, right from an idea on the back of a napkin to basically pre-commercialization. And those technologies range from solutions to manage the microplastics problem, advanced materials to or advanced coatings to reduce the leaching of toxic chemicals for the shipping industry, renewable solutions around energy. It's really quite interesting to see the broad spectrum of ideas, and really within kind of one space such as microplastics, you're seeing a lot of variety in terms of how people are approaching the problem. And I know, in Canada, we have a really strong fishing and an aquaculture focus, and a big challenge for us in the past has been around ghost gear, and the kind of ocean pollution that's happening with some of the materials that are being left behind from our traditional industries. So we're seeing some really great ideas around using AI and sonar to detect ghost gear in the water and help kind of analyze where the cleanup needs to happen. I think I could go on about the ideas, from seaweed innovation to AI innovative applications for AI. I think there's so much there, and there's so much potential within our ocean startup ecosystem in Canada.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I'm seeing so much innovation coming from that part of the world. So, I mean, to go a little bit further into the details again, I mean, how exactly do you help businesses get off the ground?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. From our standpoint, really, it starts with people raising their hand and saying, I have an idea. Once we know that who's out there doing what, we can really kind of funnel them into various programs. So we have what started as an Ocean Idea Challenge. That's kind of one of our programs for folks at the earliest stages of idea development. So it's a challenge. We just ran a version of it in terms of our Ocean Communities Climate Challenge, but for that format of challenge, it's really, you just register to participate. You don't need to go through a competitive application process. You do a customer discovery sprint. So we're really focused on helping innovators validate their ideas through customer-driven research. And so we really encourage continuous customer feedback. And then those competitors would go through a final submission, and then they're awarded some cash and some resources at the end. So that's one example of a challenge that we run. We also run an Ocean Startup Challenge, which is a bigger version with more funding on the line. We have a Lab to Market Oceans program, which focuses on helping Canadian researchers understand whether there's a commercial opportunity for their ocean research. And that's a fantastic program, again, that focuses really on customer discovery and validating your research with the market needs. So that's kind of our early stage programming. We also have a CDL, a Creative Destruction Lab Ocean Stream that we run. For anyone familiar or unfamiliar with the Creative Destruction Lab, what that is a program that brings together some of the world-leading mentors in the ocean space and selects a cohort of companies to go through the program. And it's really milestone and mentorship based. And the great thing that often results from that program is the companies are introduced to a lot of different investor networks, and they get access to potentially investors that can lead future rounds or gets them access to capital. So that's kind of our programs. In addition to that, we really look to open our network to innovators. So we've been fortunate to develop a strong network of, experts across Canada, but really around the world, who are, all interested in supporting early stage ocean innovators. And so, anytime we can make an introduction that opens a door for a company, whether they've participated in our program or not, we really look to try to connect the dots for folks that are trying to develop innovative solutions.
Yes, that's all fantastic. And again, I think it's a great toolbox of systems and ideas going on there. That's sort of a question that's a bit more personal to me because I was born and brought up on the coast. Is you work with coastal communities to find technologies that will help them face the climate challenge. Why is that important, and what help are you giving?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this year we launched a pilot of what we call the Ocean Communities Climate Challenge. And that was a competition we developed based as a result of being in conversation with multiple communities who were really interested in the work that the Ocean Startup Project was doing and how it could relate to supporting the innovators in their communities, but also the industries that those communities rely on. And so we were in conversation with multiple communities at once, and we decided, why not bring everyone together to talk about what shared challenges they have, and how those challenges may represent like globally scalable entrepreneurial opportunities for innovators. Recognizing that, the more we can solve these challenges, especially as it relates to the traditional industries that these communities rely on, the more we can create resilient coastal communities. And so we worked with these communities to consult on, what specific challenges they're facing. A lot of it was related to, ocean pollution, ocean plastics, ghost gear, various things that maybe the communities understand, they have intrinsic knowledge about, but may not have the solutions yet to, I guess, address those challenges. So from there, we worked with them to develop challenge statements, run this competition, and identify innovators who are solving problems in that relate to their coastal communities. So it's really exciting for us to better understand what these communities are experiencing, learn from the knowledge that they have around traditional industries and what opportunities may be there to innovate. And I think for us, the collaboration that comes out of these challenge competitions is really exciting because, we worked with a small community in Nova Scotia, which is on the east coast of Canada, and we connected them with a city on the west coast of Canada. And Canada is quite a large country, so those communities may never had a chance to work together before. And so it's really exciting to see that we can bring folks together with the shared goal of creating more resilient coastal communities. Really, it was a really great experience.
Fantastic. I mean, I think sort of building upon your idea of bringing people from the different ends of Canada together, one of your strengths is building partnerships between sort of companies, governments, and also NGOs. So, I mean, I know you've touched on it, but how do you bring people together?
Yeah, this is really such an important part of the Ocean Startup Project success, and everything we do really focuses on collaboration. We don't really like to do anything alone. I think that's our approach to everything is, who can we bring into this? Who can we get involved? Who's doing something similar out there? And maybe we can collaborate and align kind of shared goals on. I think that's been kind of such a critical part of our success. And, the way we do that is really through just sheer relationship building, genuine interest in what others are doing, being willing to be there to support them in their goals. I think that's been so key to our success is really taking a genuine interest in other folks who are doing similar things or complementary activities, and just building relationships with them and being there to support them and funneling people to their initiatives, and creating that reciprocal kind of relationship where we can both benefit from our shared connection. And I think that's been kind of such an important aspect of all of our activities, really. And I think I think what we've learned is we can't build a national ocean startup ecosystem alone. And so it really takes the support of everyone involved, every stakeholder, from communities to other ecosystem organizations to industry organizations. I think it's been a really critical aspect of how we approach the work we do is to ask, okay, who else can we get involved? And so that really does range, I think, from various startup organizations who may be outside of the ocean sector. Maybe it's an incubator who's just a general startup incubator. They don't have a lot of ocean expertise, but we can bring that ocean expertise and augment their existing programming with a little bit of an ocean flair. So it's just, I guess, looking for ways that we can add value to others before anything else, and just kind of genuine relationship building has been a great help for us.
Fantastic. I mean, I think one thing with any sort of organization is that they say sometimes you talk about successes, but sometimes you actually learn more from the challenges. So what sort of challenges have you faced in your work?
I think it's been a really exciting journey. I don't know if I focus too much on the challenges because it's been such a joy to watch the ecosystem grow over the past 3.5 years. But I think what I would say as a challenge is, building a national ocean startup ecosystem, building any ecosystem doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. It takes sometimes a decade. So I think for the challenge is always to balance the near-term objectives with the long-term vision. And I think, sometimes it's very easy to get caught up in, oh, we didn't hit milestones for our goals for this program intake, or, those little things. But I think at the end of the day, the broader perspective of, 3.5 years ago, there wasn't this level of excitement and momentum in the ocean startup ecosystem in Canada. And so the momentum we're seeing today will only accelerate the progress that will happen tomorrow. So I think it's like the challenge of maintaining that long-term vision on your day-to-day, in your day-to-day activities is really important, and really, I think, is the driving force behind why everyone is kind of coming together in Canada to support ocean innovation. But I'm really fortunate as someone who's really passionate about building ecosystems, that it's just been really exciting to see everyone kind of take an interest in oceans, appreciate the value that it can bring to our planet in terms of sustainability, but also kind of the economy in terms of growth. I'm pretty fortunate that it's a pretty enjoyable experience so far.
Excellent. You're definitely speaking my language there. Definitely. So I mean, just as the final question, I know the Canadian government has been doing a lot of work in this area, but what policies would you like to see from the Canadian government and perhaps other governments to promote innovation in Canada and elsewhere?
Yeah, I don't know if I could speak too much on specific policies, but I think, just a genuine continuation of the support for innovation in the ocean sector, a prioritization around reducing barriers for innovators to bring the innovations to market. And then I think, we need to be thoughtful about how we transition traditional industries into a future economy for them. So I think being really thoughtful and consulting the community along the way is really important to understand how we can transition to a sustainable future in a way that it doesn't disenfranchise anyone along the way, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so I think that's generally, I think the way forward I'm definitely biased given the space that I'm in, but I do think that the way forward is through innovation, and innovation can really come from anywhere. So we're really focused on how we can leverage the knowledge of communities across this country to develop a sustainable future for everyone. And so I think just keeping that focus in mind as policy is developed, and that continuous consultation of community and the innovation, the leaders in the innovation space. I think the combination of that is really important moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing I do like about the entire project is the way you're sort of involving absolutely everybody. not dictating
So
to people
critical.
what they should do. You know.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic, and all I can do is I wish you luck with this project. I mean, it's watching from afar, and it's been very exciting to watch it grow.
Thank you so
So
much. We really appreciate it.
it's no problem at all. So I'd like to say thank you for joining us. Thank you to everybody who's been watching. This is Martin for H2O Global News Stream. Thank you and good afternoon.